Hey everybody, and welcome to Matthew's English Cast, the podcast for people who want to learn English, are learning English, want to improve English, or just want to listen to someone speaking English. Today's episode is called Travel Vocabulary. So today, expect to learn words you can use when you are traveling abroad, when you are flying to another country. If you want to find more information about me, or to book courses, then please go to teachermatthew.com using your favorite internet browser. Welcome back to another episode of Matthew's English Cast, the podcast for English learners. How's it going? I'm pretty good, thanks. I'm well, even though the weather I'm experiencing right now is sub-zero. Sub-zero means that the temperatures have been in the minuses. They've been less than zero. The people around me seem to have been developing colds, but so far not me. Let's look at some news. In the UK, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, and his wife Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, want to take a step back from being prominent members of the royal family and become financially independent. Basically, it means instead of getting money from the Queen and doing lots of things for the Queen, they want to make their own money and put more of their time and energy into things they believe in, such as climate change and mental health. I myself am a big fan of the couple, so I support whatever they want to do, and I wish them well in whatever happens to them in the future. However, in other news, after dropping bombs on a US base in Iraq, which had no casualties, nobody died, Iran have admitted to accidentally shooting down a plane which was in their airspace at the same time they were launching the retaliation attack. From reading the newspapers in the UK, it seems to have turned the Iranian people against their own government with mass demonstrations. Hopefully everything can be ironed out. Everything can be resolved. In Australia, the bushfires continue to cause many problems. One article I read today reported that more than 2,000 homes, 2,000 houses, have been destroyed in the crisis. Let's begin today's episode. Before listening, I want to suggest you to listen to the next part, which is about 7.5 minutes, twice. Try to write down any new words you hear. I will put some words I use specifically in this podcast in the podcast notes so you can check them as you hear them. I also suggest keeping a note of them, writing them down so you can learn them and use them on your next plane trip, the next time you travel on a plane and go abroad. This is a great exercise because this way your listening will become more active rather than passive. You'll be doing something as you listen. If you want the full transcript and the notes I used to record, please find my Facebook group on Facebook. I will put it there. Just go onto Facebook and search Matthew's English Cast. It's free to join, so join there. You can chat and meet like-minded people who listen to this podcast and find the full notes on there so you can even read them as you listen. So I hope you enjoy the next part. It's just me chatting about my plane journey. So the other day, I left the UK after spending some time there over Christmas and New Year and flew to Eastern Europe. Today, I want to talk to you about some of the things I encountered on my trip. The first thing I got was a lift from my dad to the airport. We say a lift to another place when we want to say someone drove somebody somewhere. So my dad gave me a lift to the airport. I got a lift from my dad to the airport. Once I got to the airport, I took a baggage trolley, something to carry my heavy luggage, which I found in the car park and put my luggage on the trolley. I had a couple of suitcases and a backpack. Now, as you may know, when you enter an airport, you have to firstly check in. Check in is when you tell them that you have arrived. While I was checking in, the lady at the desk asked me for my passport, the thing I need to travel to another country. She then checked the weight of my suitcases. She weighed them. Both were about 20 kilograms. So luckily, I was under the limit. I didn't get a fine. I didn't have to pay any more money. My suitcases went off to the plane, and I kept my backpack as hand luggage. Hand luggage is the bag I can actually take on the plane to my seat. She then gave me my boarding pass, the thing I need to get on the plane, like a ticket, and off I went. Next, I went through security. Security is a place where your body is checked and your bag is checked for things such as knives, lighters, matches, or explosives, or just bad things that shouldn't really be on a plane. I put all of my electronic devices, my phone, laptop, into a box with my bag and coat. I also took off my belt too. My belt was holding up my trousers, but luckily for me, my trousers didn't fall down. So I put them all in a box, put the box onto a moving belt, a conveyor belt, and off they went. And they went through an X-ray machine to be checked. Then I had to go through a metal detector to detect me for things such as coins or knives or anything metal. Luckily, I didn't have any of those things, so I went through a metal detector and the alarm didn't sound. I collected my things at the other end and then continued through the airport into the departure lounge. The departure lounge is the waiting area where people wait for their plane. It is a big place full of shops and restaurants, and of course, duty-free. Duty-free is a big shop which sells things such as alcohol, sweets, and cigarettes without the added sales tax. Usually, in the departure lounge, I just sit down and read while keeping a check on the departure board. The departure board is a big board with flight details on it, so you know when and where to go for your flight. When my flight was announced, I went to my gate, the place where you board the plane, where you get on the plane. After having both my passport and my boarding pass checked, I could get on the plane. I had an aisle seat. An aisle seat is basically a seat next to the area where you can walk on an airplane. The opposite to the window seat. The window seat is where you sit next to the window. Then there is a middle seat. And then next to the middle seat, to the right of the middle seat, there is the aisle seat. And I had an aisle seat in economy class. Economy class is just the normal class, the cheapest seat on the plane. I'm not rich, so I couldn't get a first class ticket or a business class ticket. They are beyond my means. I cannot afford them at all. So I put my bag under the seat in front of me. I prefer to do this rather than putting it in the overhead locker because I can get to it easier. And I don't have to stand up. I can just keep my seatbelt buckled, which I did after that. I buckled my seatbelt. I put my seatbelt on. And the overhead locker, by the way, is the storage area above your head on a plane. I then enjoyed the safety demonstration where the cabin crew, the workers on the plane, showed me what to do in an emergency. We took off on time, the plane left on time, and landed early. So we weren't late, we were early. The plane landed before the time it was meant to land. Luckily, as well, there was no emergency. There weren't any emergencies at all, so that's why you can hear me now. I'm safe. Once I got off the plane, it was very, very cold, by the way. Once I got off the plane and had my passport checked at the border, where the immigration officers are, checking to make sure you have all of the right paperwork and you are who you say you are on the passport, I went to collect my luggage from the baggage reclaim area. The baggage reclaim area is the place where the suitcases and bags come after being taken off the plane. Usually it's a very big machine that takes the bags around in a circle slowly, so it's easy to collect them. I collected my bags. My bags were one of the first to come onto the baggage reclaim machine, so I could collect them quickly. And then I quickly went to the exit, and I called a taxi to take me to my home. The taxi was not too expensive, so I could get home after leaving the airport within an hour. So once I got home, I was just in time for dinner. And this is my story of my simple flight. It was just a simple flight flying within the European Union, within Europe. So it wasn't a long haul flight. It wasn't a long distance flight. It was just a short haul flight, just a short distance. In total, my flight took 2 hours instead of 2 hours and a half. So I got home earlier than I expected I would. So all in all, it was a successful journey. And there you have it. That was the story of my plane trip from Friday. I took this trip on Friday morning. I'm now telling you about this on the following Monday morning. So it is still fresh in my head. I can still remember it very clearly. I hope you enjoyed it. What I suggest you do is listen to it again. I think if you listen to it twice, you can catch all of the vocabulary. If you really want to practice more, keep listening to it, because the more you listen to it, I think the more you will understand it, and you will catch more of the words I said. If you have any questions, then please do send them to me. You can post them on YouTube as a YouTube comment, where the video version of this podcast is being placed, so you can listen to this as well on YouTube. I will also allow you to send me some questions on Facebook. Just join my group, Matthew's English Cast. Just search for that on Facebook. Or you can ask me in a direct message on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram, english.teacher.matthew. Like I said before, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, remember to keep practicing.
Oh,